Am I the asshole for canceling our anniversary trip because my husband drowned my terrarium? I, 29 female, traveled across the country to visit a company regarding an incredible job offer. I spent 2 days touring the company to decide if it would be the right fit for me after years of self-employment. After meeting with the company, I visited my sister, 32 female, and her family a few towns over. We barely get to see each other because of work and distance, so it was wonderful to spend a few days with her, the family, and her new baby. I was gone for a total of 8 days. When I returned home, I was excited to spend time with my husband, 33 male, and tell him about the trip, my visit with my sister, my impression of the city, etc. We were meant to be celebrating our anniversary and decided to put off the discussion about whether or not I should accept the job offer until after our anniversary getaway. I'd arranged for us to go on a luxury train ride because he's a big train enthusiast, and we were meant to leave for the trip 3 days after I got home. This is when the problem started. I have a very large closed bioactive terrarium, which I made with my mother 15 years ago. It's one of my favorite things I have of her from before she passed. This terrarium is my pride and joy and has come with me everywhere since we planted it. It was always super healthy and beautiful, and I've only ever had to open it 4 times to do little maintenance and watering. My husband knows all of this, which is why I don't understand why he decided to tamper with it in my absence. I didn't notice the night I got home because I was exhausted, but the next morning I went to check on the terrarium to find it in a terrible state. The roots were rotting, the plants were drying and molding. He told me that the day I left, he poured a few cups of water into the vessel and sealed it again. I was so mad, I cried, and it turned into a huge argument because, quote, it's just a plant, and, quote, all you do is look at it anyways. He called me ungrateful and overdramatic, and that I should appreciate that his intention was to help me, and that he didn't ask because he didn't want to bother me on my trip. I ended up canceling our anniversary plans, partly because I was so upset that I didn't want to go, and partly because I wanted to try and salvage the plants, and that would require time. He hit the roof when I told him, and is now sleeping in a separate room and refusing to speak to me, because according to him, I'm being petty and trying to destroy our marriage. Am I being oversensitive about my plants? My friends are pretty evenly split and have pointed out that he was just trying to be thoughtful, however misguided it was.
My best friend's dad is the father of my child, and I have to go to her wedding next week. Story time. So when I was 19, I met a guy in his 40s who we'll call Steve. I was at uni at the time. He told me he was married and had 3 kids. He told me that his wife had passed away, so he wanted to keep our relationship away from his children until they were ready to hear it. So when we'd been together for about 18 months, I found out that I was pregnant. He freaked the fuck out and admitted that his wife actually wasn't dead, was still very much alive. So needless to say, I broke up with him, and that's when the custody battle began. And when I say battle, I mean like battle. His wife said that he could only keep the kid if they got full custody. I would have nothing because she didn't want to deal with me for the next 18 years. So after a load of crap from his wife, they only got visitation every 2 weeks. So when they found out that they would be getting that, they decided that they didn't want anything to do with the child. All or nothing. Throughout all of the custody battle, I ended up meeting his children. 2 eldest boys hated my guts. Fair enough. But the youngest, Amy, was 6 months older than me, and she thought the only one that should get in any trouble here was her dad. She wanted to have a relationship with her brother, so I agreed to let her see him, and we actually became really, really good friends. We were similar age, similar interests. Being friends with Amy, she then entered my friendship group and she met a guy there, and they're now getting married. My son and I are still a bit of a touchy subject with Amy's parents, and Amy says that her mum regularly complains about the child support. However, Amy really, really wants her little brother at her wedding. They aren't getting married till next year, but she's already done the guest list, and me and my son are on it. But when Amy's parents found out, her mum texted me and asked me not to attend. Went straight in with it. I was like, no, I will be going to my best friend's wedding. And she went on to tell me that I'd actually fucked up her family 7 years ago. She said don't continue to. And my son still doesn't know that he is the father, and she doesn't want him to realise this at the wedding. He's seen pictures of the person who his father is, and he also knows that Amy is his sister, and they don't want any of the wider family to know about our affair. Realistically, what does she think I'm going to do? Take the microphone? My child is the bastard child of the father of the bride. Cheers everybody, cheers to the bride and groom. I spoke to my roommate about it, and my roommate said we did kind of shag her husband. The love child of her affair would be at her daughter's wedding, so you can see why she's angry. So what do you think? Am I wrong for going?
Will I be the astronaut if I texted my husband's best friend, female, to see her reaction? My husband has had this best friend since college. I never had issues with her until my wedding a month ago when my maid of honor overheard her snapping at another friend of theirs that said she has him when she wants him, when the friend teased her that she lost him and he was the one who got away. I told my husband about it a few days ago. Didn't want to ruin our honeymoon, but it was still in my head. But he denied anything happened between them. He was very calm when he said it. Almost too calm. Anyway, I have no proof and I trust him. Until I used his phone when mine died. He was driving and I was making a playlist on his phone. Then I looked through his iMessages and he had no thread with her. I mean, I know for a fact that they text nothing. I didn't say anything, but last night I literally saw her name pop up amongst the texts. When he went to bed, I looked and there were no texts. He is deleting them. Now my question is, if I ask, he'll deny it. I need to know and I need proof. Would I be the astronaut if I initiated a conversation with her, acting like I'm my husband and see what's up? I need proof or peace of mind. Update. Hi, this is my update. He's cheating. I went through his deleted messages, but it was empty, so he's been deleting the deleted messages as well. I don't know if there's further steps to find them. I don't know. I sent her WYD because this is how he texted when he was bored. She said she was in bed. I said he was in bed too, watching Succession. She asked if I was sleeping. Then it didn't take long before she started sexting, in a way that made it obvious that they've done it multiple times. I ended it quickly because honestly, I felt nauseous. I obviously didn't want to sext her. I sent myself all the evidence. Tomorrow I will be moving back to my parents' place and starting the divorce. I will not tell him why. Oof, update number 2. People are asking for an update about my husband and his female best friend. I left him, and now I am writing this from the comfort of my mom's bed. We kicked out Dad because I want all the attention now. They have been showering me with food and candy. I left without saying why, just that I wanted a divorce and that I don't love him anymore. I ended the marriage with a text while he was out because he's not worth more than that. When he got home, I was gone. I blocked him because I never want to see or hear from him again. The rumors started spreading fast, though, because I told my family and friends the truth. So now he is angry, thinking that his AP did it on purpose. So he is bashing her on social media, and she is fighting him back and fighting other friends, too. She texted me saying that I am a hoe who ruined her reputation and friendships, and that he never loved me anyway, and he married me because I am a dumb hoe. I blocked her. I will deactivate all my accounts for a while. After the holidays, I'm getting an attorney. I don't want an annulment. I don't think it's possible either. I want half, so no annulment.
Let me tell you about the time my sister had me all the way fucked up. Like, that became the ops. Like, I was not messing with her no more. Alright, so boom. So my mom and my stepdad had went to Atlantic City for my aunt, whatever. So I had the crib to myself for the weekend. But I was one of those kids where my mom really felt like she couldn't leave me in the crib by myself. Like, so she called my sister to come to the crib to watch me. I had already known that my mom was leaving a week ahead. So yeah, I planned a party a week ahead. Everybody come to my crib, party at my crib. So I already put my sister on game. I'm like, yeah, they leaving on Saturday. The morning they leave, we having a party that same night. And my sister was with it. She was with it. I'm like, yeah, bring your hookah. I'm gonna make jello shots. Like, mind you, I'm 15. And my sister was like 21, 22. So she was of age for me. Like, yeah, bring your hopes. We lit. The day come, my parents leave. I'm lit. Like, I start cleaning the crib straight. Mary J. Blige playing in the morning. Like, I was dumb high for my little party. Sister come. I'm like, yeah, we gotta go to the supermarket. We gotta get this. Like, and she had ABT. Oh, yeah, we lit. So we go to stuff that we need. We go back to the crib. I start making jello shots. Like, we had mad hookah set up. I had like 2 hookahs in the living room, a hookah in the kitchen. Like, it looked like a little club in there. I'm not gonna lie. We having the time of our life. Like, around 2 a.m. I hear, bitch, who does? I know it's not my parents. So who at the door? Like, so I go to the door. Why is the boys at the door? Why the boys at the door? So cool. They like, yeah, you know, y'all gotta turn the music down, whatever, people complaining, this, they saying they smell this, they saying they smell that. I'm like, okay, we not having no party though, but I'm gonna turn the music down, So after the cops came, like, we turned the music down, but we were still partying. The next morning, first of all, I was back. When I woke up, I had like 10 missed calls from both parents. That's a red flag. Why they calling me like this? I woke up to my sister on the phone with my stepdad, because I hear him on the speaker, and he like, was there a party last night? She like, no, like, we were just playing music. He's like, yeah, because the building called and they said the cops this and this. And we like, nah, like, there was no party. We were just playing music and it was loud. So I returned my stepdad's call. I'm like, yeah, hello. He like, yeah, everything around? I'm like, yeah. He like, I'm going to speak to you later. So me and my sister, we started cleaning the crib. We cleaning. It's mad garbage bags, but everything was spot on. One thing about us, we gonna leave everything how we found it. I'm really tired of getting in trouble at this point. So I played sleep when we came home because I don't want to hear none of that. My mom still woke me up on my fake sleep, and she blacked on me, whatever music loud, right? Cool. I was fine with that. I was fine with a little bark, and let me stay in the room. I was cool with that. Now this is where everything took a turn, and I started looking at my sister like, are we really sisters? Me and my sister sleeping in my room. I get woken up. I hear my stepdad yelling, like, he yelling, talking about an empty bottle. Mind you, I did use some of their liquor to make my jello shots because they have a whole bar in the crib. Like, let me get some. So I'm laying there with my eyes closed. I hear him talking about the bottle. I'm like, well, I hope niggas don't come in here, bro. I hear my mom's slippers coming to the room. So she come in there talking to my sister. She like, yeah, why this bottle like this? Why this bottle like this? What my sister gonna say? I don't know, ask Saya. What you over here being messy for? So I'm like, Mom, better not ask me, because I'm sleeping. My mom like, Saya, yeah, why this bottle empty? I'm like, I don't know. So my stepdad in the back like, you do know. Mind your business. So she get an attitude. He stormed out the house. He went to work. My mom goes back in the kitchen where she popping her shit, right? She come back in my room. She like, yeah, give me that phone. Girl, go ahead. She like, yeah, give me that phone and take everything off of it. Talking about the password. But let me give you a little backstory. Like about 2 years before I got my phone taken, and she went through and she took my password off my phone. So she told me to take my password off the phone so she could go through it, right? Cool. I was like, oh, fuck no. Last time she went through my phone, she found out way too much. She take everything off it? Bet. So I get on the phone. When I say I took everything off it, I literally took everything off it. I gave the phone back to her. That's just a hello, pick a language. Why would you do that? You know what I was talking about, girl. You said take everything off it. I'm not risking getting in trouble. You won't see me tell everybody to Addy. You won't see me taking shots in your bathroom. I'm not with it. No, you're not getting me. I'm not. No. Now, at this point, I know I'm fucked. My mom went back in the room with my phone. My sister sitting here just laying there on the phone. Mind you, she's grown. So it was nothing that my mom could really do to her. Like, you can't do nothing to her for real. So I'm trying to tell my sister, like, just tell mommy it was you. Like, you already over 21, like, just tell her it was you. Why my sister not going for it? Like, and she's the middle child. She never got in trouble ever. So, and she wants to keep that little reputation, but it's like, girl, take one for the team. My mom like, and don't turn that TV on either. So now I'm done. I have no phone, can't watch no TV. I don't have no, like, this is before I got an iPad. Like, so I'm just sitting there and watching my sister on motherfucking Instagram on her phone. And she got the nerve to turn her little laptop to me. It's like, you want to watch YouTube? Girl, fuck you. So now I'm on punishment, right? I had to sleep with the door open, couldn't go nowhere, didn't have no devices, couldn't watch no TV, and my parents weren't even speaking to me. Like, so I was just going through it low key. Guys, after a while, my sister left. She left. I don't know whose house she went to. She left. She left me in jail by myself when we both did the crime. And I did all the motherfucking time by myself. I was so angry at her. Why would you leave? And then on top of that, if you're gonna leave, at least take the blame so they can make it a little bit easier for me at the crib. Like, you just left and let me take all the hate. Like, what's good? I needed some clothes, and she wanted me to bring her clothes, and I told her the only way you can bring me clothes is the only way I'll bring you clothes is if you bring me McDonald's, because I don't got no phone, I can't leave the house, I can't buy no food. So if you bring me McDonald's, I will bring you some clothes down here. So I just sneak out the house and bring her some clothes, even though she left me for dead. I saw bring her some clothes. But yeah, she really had me fucked up because I can't believe you threw the party with me, and then when shit got tough, you left me for dead. And then you even tried to rat me out. Like, if mommy asking why the liquor empty and one of us is 15, the other one 21, why would you tell her to ask the 15-year-old? And I'm already bad. So you're trying to get me in more trouble. Like, that was fucked up. And if you see this, you know what you did.
So when my husband and I first started dating, I got a really bad speeding ticket that I had to go to court for. And the night before I had to go to court, my boyfriend really wanted me to stay the night with him. And I was like, oh, I have to be at the courthouse at like 7:30. But yeah, sure, whatever. I'll just leave from your house in the morning. And I didn't have like an overnight bag or anything. I just had my purse for stuff. Like, hang on, I'll show you. So this is my purse. Like, I already have my regular purse things in here. There's not a whole lot of room for clothes. So the next morning, it is like still dark outside. It's so early. My boyfriend's asleep and I'm trying to be quiet. So I'm just like picking my clothes up off the floor and just stuffing them in my purse and just trying to hit the road. So before I get into the courthouse, like I'm parked, I look at my purse, I see all the clothes in my purse, and I said, I don't want to leave that in there. I'm sure they'll have to go through my purse. So I take it out, throw it in the floorboard, get on the way. So I get into the courthouse lobby and I am right on time. Like, everyone is standing up and they're being directed to go get in line to get searched, metal detector and all that. So this guy's directing people and he's like, be sure you don't have any firearms, any knives, any pepper spray, like no weapons. You're coming into court. So we all get in line to be searched. I'm at the end and this is what I look like on the outside. But on the inside, I'm having a crisis. I am 98% sure that I have both pepper spray and a knife in my purse right now, but I parked way too far away to try to run and drop those off real quick. I'm also a little bit late. Maybe I just like own up to having them. They can just throw it away and I won't get in trouble. That pepper spray is like 6 years old. I think that'll be fine. So I'm at the back of the line. I see this lady in the very front and she's got one of those like big, like deep mom purses. And this guy has a, table off to the side of the metal detector and he's like shaking her purse out, like literally grabbing the bottom, shaking it out, going through everything. And I'm like, damn, they're really gonna find it. By the time I get to the front of the line, and I was in the back, by the time I make it all the way up to the front, they're still going through this lady's purse. And I'm like, well, the guy who takes my purse literally does this. That's it? Really? I go take a seat in the courtroom. This first bag lady is still getting checked. Taking it back down. So I sit down in the courtroom, put my purse next to me. I'm like, wow, I know for a fact at least my pepper spray is in there. Oh well. I had accidentally left a bright red pair of silky panties in my purse that I had worn for my boyfriend the night before. And the security guard was so embarrassed to see them that he let me into courtroom with a knife and pepper spray. Right on top. Literally, he just went, not doing that. So this is very much a joke. Don't do this. But I got 2 weapons into court with a bag search and a metal detector. Just because my panties were in my purse. Like, I don't know what would have happened if they did find that on me, but I mean, when in doubt, throw some panties at it.
So 2 years ago today, exactly, I got kicked out of school. This was a time in my life where I thought everything was over. I thought I had failed at everything. It was a really scary time where I was unsure of what was going to happen. And turns out everything was gonna be okay. But I really have learned a lot since then. So I guess without avoiding it, I was kicked out of school twice. I thought being a teacher was my entire future, but somehow on this journey, I decided to start documenting my life online and sharing my life with you guys. And many of you guys might remember way in the beginning, I was in school to be a teacher. I was student teaching at the time. I also had multiple nannying jobs, basically doing everything I could to stay afloat. So at this time, the placement that I was in was particularly difficult. Now this is when the tea comes in because I was 2 weeks away from graduating. I started a series online where I was counting down the days of my student teaching, and this was a point where I had definitely gained a following, but my school did not like that I had gained a social media following. Some people have their opinions on whether or not teachers should have social media, but I was just a normal 21-year-old girl. All my content remained very wholesome, very PG. It was just sharing my life. I'm only hours away from completing my student teaching hours, and all of a sudden, one day, I get pulled aside by an administrator, and she goes, Miss Maymay, your outfit is far too inappropriate for school. And I'm like, my deepest apologies, I will not do it again. You know I'm a people pleaser, and I will be the first to apologize even if I had no idea what I did. I go on and ask, can you please point out like what in my outfit was inappropriate? I didn't get a response. It was just, please come to school tomorrow dressed more appropriately. And I'm like, absolutely. So that day I go home and record a TikTok and I'm like, guys, I just got dress coded today. And I was told that if this happens again, this is a strike. Basically, if I receive 3 strikes, I get kicked out of the program. So this completely took off. Needless to say, this outfit was far from inappropriate. I remember wearing a turtleneck dress with stockings and a trench coat, and I was dress coded. And not only that, I was taking inspiration from other teachers working at this school, basically wearing the same outfits that they were, except one detail I forgot to include is I was teaching at a very, very southern school, and I may have been the youngest teacher there by decades. But they were not happy. Well, this entire thing took off on the internet. Genuinely, I was completely shocked. Nothing like this had ever happened to me. I was just so confused, and you guys were too. And it was blowing up like crazy. A couple days goes by and I'm at school, and again I get pulled over by another administrator and we get dress coded again. I specifically remember in my morning vlogs I was getting dressed in order not to get dress coded. I get Maymay, the outfit you wore today to school is entirely inappropriate. This is going to be another strike to your account. My heart is palpitating in my chest and I am wondering what I'm doing wrong. I ask again, is there anything specific wrong with my outfit? I literally say I'm wearing the exact same outfits as some of of these teachers here, and I'm just confused. I get we expect you to come to school in a professional manner and come dressed professionally. Now I am sincerely panicked. I was stressed. I genuinely thought I was getting kicked out of school, and I only had one more strike until I was done. So a few days later, I walk into school with all of my lesson plans complete, and all of a sudden I get this call, and it's my program director. And I'm like, that's weird. Why is my program director calling me right now? It's the middle of the school day. Hello? Mei, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at school. Why? And she's like, Mei, you need to get out of there right now. You need to leave that building. And my heart dropped. I was like, what is going on? Can you please tell me what's going on? And my program director literally goes, you need to get out of that building right now. You are no longer authorized to be in that building. When I tell you, my entire body, it felt like everything had shut down. And I look at my mentor, who is a teacher that's in the classroom with you, observing you and grading you. I look at her and I'm like, do you know what this is about? And she's like, I have no idea. I gather all my things and I get to the car, and my program director proceeds to tell me that the administration in this school, including the principal and vice principal, have decided to strike me from the program and kick me out. Meaning, I will no longer be graduating. I only had, I'm not even kidding, like 8 hours. I was told I was given my last strike. I was not going to be given another opportunity because of my unprofessionalism and the way that I dressed. So my heart was completely shattered. I think it was especially devastating because I had spent the past 4 years studying to become a teacher, and being a teacher was all I wanted. That was the end goal. I was honestly so embarrassed. I felt like I had that one goal and I couldn't achieve it, and I genuinely felt like I had failed. And the fact that we were so close to graduating, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I won't forget the feeling. I will never forget sobbing in my car and thinking that my life was over. I was scared to tell my mom. Nobody said anything to me. Not my mentor, not the faculty members, not the administration that was grading me. Nobody said a word until I got this call telling me to physically leave the school. And I think that also has to do with the embarrassment of it all. Nobody warns you for the moment you understand that you have no control over the situation that's going on. But then I get, Mei, can I ask you one more question from my program director? And she goes, do you by chance have a TikTok? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, okay, this is gonna be a little tricky. In that moment, she said, I need you to decide something. She was willing to help me find a second placement, basically help me find a school that would let me complete my hours so that I could graduate. She had a school lined up for me, but I was given an ultimatum. I was told, you can either delete all of your social media, delete every presence that you have online, and never post on social media again. If you do, then this school is going to allow you to complete your student teaching. I was forced to choose my social media career or a career that I have been working for the past 4 years, and both I was uncertain of. I had no idea what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but what I did know along the way of documenting my life and sharing every single experience with you guys, I gained you. No idea how this happened, but we somehow gained this community where people cared about me. They cared about what I had to say, and they wanted to listen to my stories. And I never in a million years would have imagined that there would be people watching me on the other side of this screen that genuinely cared what I had to say. And from that moment, I had no idea if I was going to be successful from social media. I had no idea if we had a future. I had no idea if it was going to go away at any point. I just knew that I was not willing to give you guys up. It's weird because at that time, I genuinely had no idea what the future would hold, but in my gut, I felt like I had to choose the option that they wanted to cut away from me. You all have drastically changed my life. You all have shown me the kind of kindness and support that I'm not sure that I will ever be able to pay back. The fact that there are people on the internet that I have never met have followed along on this journey for 2 years, that is love that I'm not really sure that I'm worthy of. But please know that I will be forever in debt to the love that you guys have shown me. And I just wanted to say, if you feel like your world is ending and nothing is going your way and nothing is going planned, bestie, trust me, there is a plan being unfolded that you had no idea that you were meant for.
Americans are not the worst tourists. I don't care how many times somebody tells you that. I don't care how many times you've heard somebody on the internet say that. It's not true. Have you ever asked a tour guide who is the worst tourist? Because I have. Let me give you a little story time. A couple of days ago, I went to the Vatican and I booked, me and my husband, a little tour guide because, I mean, the Vatican is extensive. We wanted to learn about it. Right now, it's like the hour of tours because you like skip lines whenever you're in like a group. And so there's a bunch of tours next to us too. There's a bunch of groups, and there's like a Spanish group, if I remember correctly. There was another French group, an English group, a Chinese group, an Italian group, and then there was another group, but I don't I can't remember. And the entire time, I say this with my chest, the entire time he's making jokes about a specific group of tourists. He says things like, oh, let's run so that we can go towards the statue so that you guys can take pictures of it, because once these people come, we won't be able to take pictures for an hour. It goes on and on. Some of the jokes are fine. It seemed okay at first, and then suddenly it goes really weird and it goes really racist. So me and my husband are like looking at each other because he's getting to a point where it's getting really uncomfortable. He's talking about how they take pictures of pigeons and mushrooms, and he's talking about how like they're so loud and they don't understand anything about European cultures, and how like he doesn't understand why they're even traveling to Europe. It doesn't make sense. Like if they want to take pictures, like they can take pictures of their own birds in China. And so at the end of the tour, I go towards him and I'm like, which people do you think are the worst tourists? And that was his first word. People from China. I say, not Americans. He says, no. Americans? They're the least of my concerns. Nobody has issues with Americans. But he goes on to tell me that, like, in specific tour groups and stuff, like, nobody wants to get those people, quote unquote. This might be a very Italian thing. I don't know if it's like that everywhere. I was gonna give him a tip before I had to listen to his racist rants.
Since it's Ramadan, I thought, why not share how I found out that women cannot fast while they're on their periods? In Ramadan, Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset, no food, no water. Women, if they're on their periods, they don't have to participate, obviously, because, like, you know, y'all are going through a lot. You don't need this in your life, you know what I mean? But basically, when I was a kid, when I was like 12-ish, my mom was just like, listen, we need to introduce fasting into your life because next year you're probably going to have to start fasting. Because it's like you start fasting when you hit puberty. So I was just like, okay, it sounds good. She was just like, so you get to break your fast after you come home from school. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So in school, I would cheat. You know what I mean? I'd be drinking water. I'd be eating. Like, I'd be doing everything. So, like, but my mom obviously never knew. Sorry. But, you know, this one time on the weekend, I was just like at home, like, whatever. I had a secret water bottle that was under my bed, just in case, you know, if I got thirsty. I was playing GTA San Andreas all day. You know what I mean? Like, I remember. And I remember I wanted to take a sip, but my mom is infamous for never knocking the door. She just barges in. She's like, hey, Bebo. She uses my nickname. She goes, Bebo. And it's like, whatever, right? So there's one time I'm like sitting in bed, whatever, and I was just like, oh, damn, I'm really thirsty right now. So I was just like, I really need to go like drink water. But I hear my mom in the room next to me, and I was just like, bro, my mom is sneaky. She is like a cat. Like, she could just sneak up on you and you wouldn't even hear it. So I was just like, let me just like run into the kitchen, right? So I'm like, you know, for the sake of the story, I promise I'm fasting, you know, water. I'm like walking into the kitchen and I'm like, I put it up to my mouth and I'm about to take a sip, or I maybe was drinking water. I walk into the kitchen and I'm drinking my water. My mom looks at me and she goes, Bebo? And I was like, what? I spit out my water. I was like, sorry. And then I was like, hold on. Why are you eating? And she just looks at me and she was like, what do you mean, why am I eating? Why are you drinking water? And I was just like, okay, I messed up. I acknowledge that. You know, I can take accountability, but why are you eating? And she's like, you know, like, women have a past sometimes. And I was like, what do you mean you have a past? Like, for what? And she was like, you know, every month, you know, a woman bleeds, you know, and you know, it's difficult. So it's just, and I was like, so I get nosebleeds all the time. And she's like, it's not the same. It's not, people, it's not the same. And I was like, okay, but like, what's the issue? And she's like, it hurts. I was like, my nose hurts after 2. And she was like, okay, but our bleeding is different. It's basically like we're giving birth. And I was like, you said that giving birth just comes out of your stomach. So what's the issue? Like, what, your stomach starts bleeding? Is it bleeding out of your belly button? She was like, Bibo, enough questions. Women bleed once a month. And while they're bleeding, it's like a week long. They don't fast, okay? And we have to make up for it later. And I was like, oh, you have to make up for it later? I was like, never mind. Ignore everything that I said. Ignore everything that I said. As a kid, I was like, why am I fasting for 4 weeks and you're doing 3?
I think my boyfriend is a narcissist. What should I do? Diss yourselves because this is one messed up story. 5 months ago, my bestie and I show up to this party. Think really rich people living in the Hamptons. A la Great Gatsby, but with TikTok and cell phones. My bestie and I look fabulous. Out of nowhere, this guy comes up to me and starts talking to me like he knew me. I was actually confused. I thought maybe we had met before and I was embarrassed that I didn't recognize him. So I entertained him for about 10 minutes. That's when he told me that he lied. That he'd never met me before, but he was pretending so that he could actually talk to me. I was actually charmed. You see, he's English, and he was in town for about a week visiting his friends, very rich people who were hosting the party. He charmed me so much that night. By the end of the party, he started love bombing me. No, I didn't know he was doing it at the time. He was giving me every single compliment he could think of. How pretty I was, how beautiful my hair was, how I was the prettiest girl in the entire party. They were very generic compliments, but he still managed to charm me. That's when he said, "Can I kiss you?" I said no, and then he kissed me. I was stunned, but I kind of liked it. For the rest of that week, he started showing up everywhere I was. After about 2 weeks, he convinced me to be his girlfriend. But then he started making me feel bad for the people I was hanging out with. You see, I have a lot of guy friends, and he would say things like, "If you love me, you wouldn't be hanging out with all these guys." And the love bombing continued every single day, every hour of the day. He worshipped me. Before I knew it, I was prioritizing him and only him. I stopped hanging out with friends, and he started criticizing my appearance and changing the way that I was dressing. Then one day he told me that I was stupid for not realizing that he was lying to me all the time. When I asked him what he meant, he said, "Wow, then you really are stupid." 2 days later, I found out he's not even English. He's from Ohio. Everything he said is a lie. Then he love bombs me and follows it up with criticism. And when it comes to intimacy, he makes me feel like I'm not good enough, but then he always wants it. And last night he told me that he's more attractive than I am. And if that bothers me, can someone tell me what a narcissist actually is? I think I'm right about this.